Mary Bawden, welcome to the Compare To podcast.
Oh, it's so nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that you can help us today answer this question of will participating in dance harm my daughter's body image? And let me just give you a little bit of background, and then I want to hear your background because I know you've been working in this arena for quite a while. But we have a lot of women connected to the show, even clients of mine, those who have gone through coaching here, who would say that their body image issues, at least in part, may have started when they participated in dance. And some of that is, I don't know, maybe more straightforward, like the ballet dancer, like body type, right?
Mhm.
Maybe having ballet dance instructors who really put a lot of pressure around looking like a ballet dancer. But then another part of that, and this is where I know you're going to help us go today. Another part of that is just this whole arena of what, I hate to say it, but kind of what dance has become,
Yeah,
because it's not what I mean, even cheer, let's be honest. I live in Texas. Even cheer is not what it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. And so I'm glad you're here with us today, Mary, to kind of help us sort this out. First, would you just like give us a little bit of your background? Like, why is dance? I don't know, is it appropriate to say your passion or your calling?
yeah. Actually, I have a BA and MA in dance. Therefore, you can tell that I love dance, and I started taking dance when I was 11,
Mhm.
and I had a wonderful experience. And if you read the research about what I would define as healthy dance, you will find the research outcomes couldn't be better, from improved brain development, cognitive development, creativity, appropriate risk-taking, confidence, community engagement, leadership, just all kinds of things, which are really appropriate. And so when I entered into the dance arena when I was 11, it was a wonderful experience. I just had uh, just the best time in dance. And before I was 11, I wanted to take dance, but we moved 6 times in my first 12 years. And I'm the youngest of four, and my parents just didn't get to it. Now, they got to a lot of things like the house and the groceries and getting a doctor and assigning me to a school. So they were wonderful. But, yeah, for kids, you just have a little bit of challenge to do all the things your kids want. But my mother came to me when I was 11. We had just moved again and said, I found a dance studio for you.
Mm.
So really, dance built me from the inside out. As I progressed in it, that's why I got the BA in modern dance. I'm highly trained in Giacchetti ballet, that method. So it really took a little girl who was very shy
Mm.
and really helped me to develop into the woman I became. And I hope you can see through this podcast that I'm not too shy anymore. And so I love dance. I love healthy dance. I did end up for over 25 years leading a dance ministry at my church. So I believe God is the author of movement. Therefore, he's its first dancer. Genesis 1:2. God's spirit moved across the waters. And I believe that movement, if we look more deeply at it, is really our first language. Words are second.
Mm. Wow, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so dance is a beautiful, God ordained thing.
Right.
And what's happened in our
Okay, there
sinful,
you
fallen
go.
world, right?
That's why I'm here to talk with you on this podcast. God has given people choice from the beginning of time. If we're Christians and we look into the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam and Eve choice, informed choice. Choice is part of who we are as human beings. We choose when we go to sleep. We choose what snacks we have. We choose what we watch on TV, on and on and on. We have choices. And that comes from the time we're the littlest to the time when we're a bit older. And I put myself in that category. So it should be no surprise to your listeners that dance has had some things come into the art form that are distorting it. And so you have to make choices. You have to be intentional. You have to be informed. When I was a little girl, my parents dropped me off at dance class and picked me up, and we had chicken for dinner, and then I did my homework. But I mean, so there was nothing odd going on. But now you have to check into the dance studio and see what their philosophy of hypersexualized content is. By that, I mean, what are the lyrics the children are dancing to? What are the costumes children are dancing to? And what are the movements that are being chosen for those kids? In some respects, in this culture, we're making children into mini adults. We're objectifying them in adult sexual material, and that has all kinds of traumatic outcomes for them. And I can cite some research if you're interested. You know, the APA many years ago, about 10 years ago actually, defined a hypersexualized child as someone whose physical appearance was equated with being sexy, when they were made into an object, when sexuality was inappropriately imposed on them. And so it's a very broad definition, but it really fits the bill for a lot of what is going on in dance studios. And I really think that can be directed to the advent of the internet, because we have to connect the dots as to why are kids being exposed to all this hypersexualized content? Well, it's the internet, media, and pornography industry. I believe they are using dance to groom children, to make money, and to use them at younger and younger and younger ages. You know, one research expert named Gail Dines calls it a pornified culture. Another research expert, Philip Adams, calls it corporate pedophilia, where we're really exposing children to things that they just can't be exposed to in terms of their brain development. And so lots of things are going on psychologically. How do we approach a relationship when we're 6 years old and we've been exposed to an adult sexual culture? A child can't make those choices. So mom and dad, brothers and sisters, if they're older, aunts and uncles, friends, neighbors, church members, they have to come and assist in those kinds of choices. So I hope that the people listening to this podcast can really understand we have to take hold of protecting our kids and helping them be in environments that really will help them grow in positive ways, like what happened to me. And there's all kinds of ways I can share with you to do that. But by defaulting and saying, well, it's the way it is, that has led to a worsening of a lot of these problems, one of which is just even comparison to other kids. If we're talking about body image, dance can just have a child compare themselves to another child unless, you know, they get some input from caring adults and caring teachers to talk about this. And so we just need to do some more work for children because this issue is under the radar. We've got so many things going on in the culture, and I'm certainly not saying they're unimportant, but I think the baseline for any culture is protecting its children. That's why I founded Dance Awareness, No Child Exploited.
Yeah. Thanks for all of that. Let me go back and just kind of reemphasize, and maybe we can just kind of dig even deeper into one thing you said. And that was the subjectification part.
Mhm.
because as I see it, and well, most of the women I work with, and I work with adult women, a lot of women over 40, like one of the challenges that we have is in our body image issues, even as adult women, we are
Yeah.
seeing ourselves as objects. Right. And
Yeah.
so as I think about what happens when you put a little girl in dance, in a dance situation where it is all about the, sexy movements and the sexy costumes and the, really just trying to be older, right? Is probably how most parents would maybe write it off. Like, oh, this is my cute little 7-year-old acting like she's 17.
Yeah.
But it's not so cute because it's actually damaging her
Absolutely.
psychologically, correct?
Absolutely. I can list a number of outcomes the APA has concluded about objectification and comparison for kids. They're unable to identify sexual abuse because this is sexual abuse. And
Mm,
that goes along with body image and body dysmorphia, this constant comparison. In dance, I think depending on the teacher, there has always kind of been that sense of comparison way back when, but it has exploded with the internet, media, and porn industry,
mm,
and parents allowing not only that comparison for external body image, but allowing a child to see and be exposed to movies, TV, magazines, cheerleading you just mentioned. It's just gone beyond the beyond.
mm,
Actually, pornography and sexual exploitation and some of these issues are the wallpaper of our kids' lives. And yet, at the same time, God said it was good.
mm,
Movement is good, right?
mm.
So, what are you going to do? Tell a child not to move? I mean, that's not a good solution.
Right.
If you're giving kids the message that they can't dance and they can't move, and then it's a bad, bad thing,
Mm,
what kind of outcome are you going to get from that
right.
message? So, again, I have to go back to step one, and that is we have to make informed choices.
Mhm,
And we have to be educated about that, and we have to talk with kids about it.
mm,
And that's one of the reasons dance awareness came into existence, because everything on our website is free.
mm,
We have some 4-minute trailers that you could show to an older child, not younger ones. You can talk to the younger ones, uh, depending on the age appropriate level of that child. But we have a lot of people using these 4-minute trailers. They're all different, so you should take a peek at them at danceawareness.com and use them as a way to communicate and open the discussion with young people. And of course, even with uneducated adults, because this isn't a dance problem
mhm,
for dance teachers. I'm seeing uninformed adults and uninformed dance people across the boards. And that's because they've been exposed to the internet, media, and porn,
mhm,
and they're busy. We're all busy.
mhm,
And nobody took notice.
mhm,
And so it didn't get better, it got worse.
mhm. Yeah. Well, I've read your list. I've been through your website. And the list of outcomes for this hypersexualized version of dance, it's pretty daunting.
It's
Like,
pretty
I,
daunting,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
prostitution's on that list, isn't it? I mean,
Absolutely.
can you kind of, I don't know, I don't want you to scare us necessarily, but can you give us the straight truth about the extremes? Like,
Well, actually, the extremes have been normalized. We're
mm,
normalizing what is not normal. And it's
mm,
so normal now that nobody's saying anything. So I need your listeners to say something.
yeah,
Say, because we empower each other when we
yeah,
say something. Now, just as important is how do we say something?
mm,
Because if you start raging at people and screaming at people and polarize the issue,
right,
nothing is going to
right,
happen.
right.
Nothing. So one of the tenets of dance awareness, we have 4 educational objectives. One of them is to engage in respectful conversations without shaming or demonizing dance studios or parents, to make them aware of the issue and hopefully change their perspective. And if it doesn't, you've done your part. But, the research also says people have to hear the same message a couple of times
Yeah.
before they kind of buy into it. And I was at a educator conference last year, actually in Arkansas. And I did my speaking. I have PowerPoint, and there were two moderators. These are both professionals. One of them said to me at the end of the presentation in front of the crowd, "Boy, this just makes common sense. What parent would ever allow their child to do this?" And I came in and I said, "Well," I said, that's true. I agree with you. But there are a lot of people who are unaware and uninformed and uneducated. And we want to make sure and not shame them, but educate them. I'm so glad I said that, because the other moderator then spoke up and said, "Oh, I thought it was just cute." And she said, "You have really opened my eyes to the traumatic outcomes from exposing children to these kinds of sexualized adult materials." And so there you have it. You have the response from one adult that says, "Oh, that's just common sense." You have another response from somebody who's a professional educator, I might add, in physical education.
Wow.
And she didn't have a clue. So now she's not a bad person. I'm not a bad person before I saw this issue. And so I have to say what I say with kindness and gentleness and respect, but I don't back down.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have one daughter, and we had lived in Texas for maybe 2 or 3 years. And she was 4, and she wanted to go to dance. And
Of course, because she wants to move.
so we did 1 year of ballet and tap. And then we got to recital time.
Yeah.
And recital required full makeup for my 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what to do. I mean, we're talking mascara. We're talking full makeup, not like, I understand you need a little blush, you need maybe a little lip color or something because the lights are bright, but we're talking she needed a full face at age 4. And so we took her out after that. It just didn't feel right. But
And I commend you for that. And I commend you for that. Actually, that's someone that was looking at what was going on, seeing the environment. And I say to parents, don't think you're putting your child, your 6-year-old, in there. We'll talk about the makeup for a 6-year-old in just a minute, but she's looking at older girls, and she will model her life at some point after the older girls.
Right.
And if she's been exposed to hypersexualized content in adult costumes, choreography, and music, she's going to look up to those girls, and she's going to buy in, and it's going to be normalized for her. So that's one thing. The second thing I want to address, if I can, is that they wanted to put adult makeup on her. Well, in a simplified version of healthy dance, children look like children in age-appropriate costumes, choreography, and music, usually accompanied by a great sense of joy. In harmful, hypersexualized dance, children look like adults. In adult costumes, choreography, and music, usually accompanied by adult makeup and adult hairstyle. So maybe at the 6-year-old level, I don't know what the song was, the costume was, the choreography, but I can tell you she's being put into, if that was a requirement, she's put into an adult context. And you did the right thing by pulling her.
Yeah.
Now, I could further that right thing by telling your listeners on danceawareness.com, because kids love to move. You're not going to win, and you shouldn't win, because movement is God's idea, and it's a joy, and it builds community, and it's fun, and on and on and on in the right environment. look at our healthy dance directory. We have a state-by-state listing of healthy dance directories that don't sexualize kids and are very attuned to this very issue, body image, comparison, all those things that kind of come in the ball of wax that we are discussing. And your child can have an absolute delightful, wonderful time. And so it's free, and you can nominate a dance studio that
Okay,
you
great.
think is healthy. So if you live in Pennsylvania, but you know of a healthy dance studio in Florida, nominate,
Yeah, great.
because this healthy dance directory will help both caring parents and caring dance educators, because they don't know who they are, right? Move to a town, you don't know where the healthy dance studio is, and the dance studio doesn't know where the parents are
Right.
who don't want hyper-sexualized content.
Right.
And in fact, then we empower each other, because what we hope at Dance Awareness is that the terms healthy and harmful dance will begin to be the words that parents and caring adults and dance educators use as we approach educating young children about the joy and the wonder of their bodies, so they can give glory to God.
Amen.
But when that's not defined, when it's not discussed in the confines of a dance experience, often people come to different conclusions about who they are, and that's external. And external presentation. I'm wearing a red jacket today. You've got glasses on, Heather. I mean, we notice externals, right? But the real work that God does goes on from the inside out. And so we want to make sure we set a child up to have the very best dance experience they can. And they're all over. There are all kinds of dance educators like me who love dance and love kids and want to promote a wonderful, wonderful art form.
I love it. Love it. Okay, you rattled through it just a minute ago, but just in case it wasn't super clear, can you give me like 3 or 4 things to look for? How do I know if I found a healthy dance studio?
Well, the first thing you can do is download the free ebook. It's only 13 pages on danceawareness.com. It'll take you through the step-by-step process of how you do that. But in a nutshell, I go to the June dance recital before I enroll my child. And you have to look at the older kids. It's getting so normalized at younger ages. I mean, I'm seeing it on the elementary and preschool level at this point. So it's not just the older kids at many dance studios. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they kind of don't do that in the elementary levels, and then you see that gradual ascent in the older levels. But I would go and observe that June dance recital or ask for a video. But my best suggestion would be to go into the dance studio, take a look around, take a look at the pictures from the awards or whatever they were doing. And then I'd make an appointment with that dance studio owner. And you don't have to go in there with just all anger and you're mad. And, there's a really good, respectful way to talk with another adult who obviously likes dance about the content of the songs. And most of the songs in hypersexualized dance studios aren't inappropriate. Just the lyrics are bad. Then you put on the costumes, which are bad. Then you put on the movement or the choreography, which is terrible. So it's a very appropriate thing to do. I mean, we check into our kids' diets. What are they eating for a snack, or do they have candy every meal? Of course not. So, just being an adult who has the awareness and has identified the problem will probably fix it, because you won't go to that dance studio. You'll look up the names of the Healthy Dance Directory nominees in our free directory. And you'll nominate some if you know of anybody to help other parents. So that's really the process. And so you have to empower yourself. Don't be afraid. First Timothy, actually 2 Timothy 1:7 says, we haven't been given a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and self-control. And so you just do what you have to do in any setting.
Yeah. Are you doing anything around cheer? Have you moved? Because I mean, I live in Texas where we've got cheer team and dance team, and they're kind of the same, but it's, I mean, it's in the schools, and those dances are
Yeah,
are interesting. Let me put it
yeah,
that way.
we have a lot of work to do
Mm,
because nobody spoke up, right? To
mm,
my knowledge, Dance Awareness No Child Exploited is the only organization in the world,
mm,
and I'm not using hyperbole.
mhm.
I wish I was. I wish there were a million different
Mm,
organizations speaking out about this topic. We are the only one. So we need
mm,
your listeners to join the team
mm,
and to be part of that team and not to be afraid. You're not old-fashioned. The research is right with you. We are affiliated with the National Center on Sexual Exploitation in Washington, D.C. Our research is outstanding. How this affects the psychological framework for children, how this affects brain development, how this affects body image,
mm,
focusing on externals, so kids self-sexualize. These are not things that are options, right?
mm,
A child is not going to be healthy
mm.
when there are, you know, externalized with adult sexual content. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So you have to speak out about that. You have to discuss it with your kids and make use of our resources. We have a dance newsletter. It comes out only 3 times a year. Please sign up for it. And we are the only one, again, in the world that I'm aware of that has experts, dance educators, researchers, parents, grandparents, writing on this issue. So that will inform your listeners and help them, to say something, because it doesn't matter if everybody's doing it. Everybody was smoking a couple of years ago,
That's
right?
true.
I mean,
That's
who
true.
cares?
In restaurants
Yeah,
while
I
people are
don't
eating.
care. I
Right.
mean, it's terrible. And so I don't care if it's been normalized, which it
Yeah.
has. We need to speak up and make changes. And we'd love your listeners to join the Dance Coalition. What does that mean? And first of all, I should say it's nonpartisan, although I am faith-based. It is not. So what we want is any adult who's listening and who wants to stand against the hypersexualization of children in adult costumes, choreography, and music can sign up, and that's the end of it.
Mm.
Or if you want to sign up for a committee and work on some of these issues, we'd like to invite you to. But we'd love to have you share that with your friends. And again, it's nonpartisan. Any adult that wants to protect kids can be part of the Dance Coalition.
Great. Great. Well, tell us that website, Mary, as we close up today. Tell us your website.
It's www.danceawareness.com.
Great. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. Well, Mary Bawden, thanks so much for being on the podcast today. Appreciate you being here and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us.
Well, it's a joy to be here, and it's a joy to help people really take hold of this issue and let their kids enjoy movement. And again, I want to stress that the answer to harmful dance is healthy dance. And there's plenty of dance educators out there who agree with my perspective. So this is a trend and a pattern in the culture, not in dance.
Yeah. I love that distinction. When mine were very little, that was a thing we would do. We would turn on, normally some contemporary song. I'm thinking of like Rend Collective has a song called Joy, which just kind of makes you want to jump.
That's right.
And so that was just one thing we did when my kids were little. We'd make Alexa play it loud and we'd all jump around and dance. And that was
That's right.
a very fun part of being a mom of little kids.
And just because I know this is a faith-based podcast, you're giving glory to God. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough, I don't know, ask yourself the question, does this movement Does this song, does this choreography, does this teacher, as she interacts with children, give glory to God? There's your
Yeah.
bottom line.
There you go. That's
And
good.
so you know, let's simplify this so it's not so hard.
Yeah.
And do it as soon as you can, is to make those evaluations and get them in programs that really are age appropriate. And you see the beauty and the joy of kids responding to the beauty of the body, which they were given by God.
Yeah. I love it. Thanks so much, Mary. Appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching or listening today. I hope something today has helped you stop comparing and start living. Bye bye.